This week on the segment is Miss Denise Bowden. Great story about the Yothu Yindi Foundation, and she's the boss. This week on the segment, we have Miss Denise Bowden. She is the CEO of the Yothu Yindi Foundation. She's also the director of the Garma Festival. We've got her in the hot chair here, mate. She's come in on her long service.
Dang.
Yeehaw! Got her in on a long service. No, but thanks for coming in. We've got to declare we've known each other probably about 10 years, and I've watched you in the trenches behind the scenes, battle, and it's been a great privilege actually build one of, or the largest indigenous festival in Australia at the moment. I mean, I don't know of any other platform that all politicians, prime ministers, governor generals, they all clamber to get to the Garma Festival, and you're in the hot seat.
Not bad, huh?
So tell me about the Yothu Yindi Foundation. Okay, so most of Australia would know the band, the Yothu Yindi band, but tell me about the foundation. And you're the boss of it.
I am.
You are.
I am. That's right. I get to make some amazing decisions based upon my your board. Our chairman in Garma is fascinating. You know, the whole thing behind the Yothu Yindi Foundation and that journey that you've watched over the last 10 years. Amazing. We've got a heap of stories to tell over that 10-year period too, Chris. And you know, we watched it morph into something nationally significant, and it's not just, you know, because of any one person. Yeah. It's because that community out there is just gold. It's an amazing territory.
So tell me about the business model of the Yothu Yindi Foundation.
So the business model is about your having all of the opportunities that others do, really, which is a very difficult concept when you're given such a very remote dynamic out there in northeast Arnhem Land. We have advocacy work, so we do a lot of lobbying in terms of Indigenous policy. We also are very busy with our partners in Barker College, putting in an independent kindergarten to early childhood school out at Gunyangara. Yep. We're also building a secondary school out at the Garma site with Studio Schools Australia. Wow. And we're also working with the University of Melbourne on an adult learning institution, so almost like a bush university. Yep. Don't want to use that word. However, there's an education pipeline basically from start to adulthood. Yep.
And there's also the Garma Festival in there as well.
And there's that too.
It's just another small body of work. So tell me about, we'll come back to the foundation, but just tell me about the Garma Festival. What goes on out there? So
it's 4 days worth of an event that encapsulates the beauty of the Yolngu culture. It's very different from, say, New South Wales, or even different from Queensland even. So that Yolngu perspective is a really interesting space. It's very deeply philosophical.
Why are all these, like prime ministers, why are they all clambering to get a ticket to the Garma Festival?
Well, I think the last 10 years we've watched this journey, and so we've told a really good story over that past 10 years where we've basically said, look, this is the Indigenous culture that we know and we love here in the Northern Territory. It's what makes the territory, basically. It gives it that, you know, appeal, and the way that it's all packaged together tells a wonderful story of Indigenous affairs that once upon a time you weren't supposed to talk about, to be honest. But we've owned it. Our board have said we're owning it. Yep. We're retaining our culture. We're maintaining it. We will never get rid of it, right?
And so this is run by the board out. This is not run from Darwin, is it?
Well, no, and it's all happening out in a very remote place. So for Territorians that haven't come to the Garma Fest, we've got to put it on your bucket list because it's very hard to put into words. So the Yothu Yindi Foundation hosts it. We do all of the operational logistics, the whole kit and caboodle. We host the event, but the decisions of the programming are decided by basically that community or our board.
So you were very instrumental, as I understand, getting John O'Kit into politics. Is that right? Or you were involved there?
Yeah, so maybe nobody knows this. I did the campaign for him, which got him into Parliament. And yeah, it's great. So all of a sudden, you know, we're out in Arnhem Land beating around in the bush, and next minute we're up in the 5th floor of Parliament House here in Darwin. So it's a big change, and those were interesting times. I got to see the machinations of, how Parliament operates, how Cabinet.
So you worked on the 5th floor up there?
Yeah.
And that was Claire Martin days, correct?
Well, it was on and off for some time. Paul Henderson's period also.
Yep.
So I did a stint for Alison Anderson there as an Indigenous Affairs policy advisor at the time too. So lots of memories created in Parliament here in Darwin.
So fast forward, you get the opportunity to work for the Yothu Yindi Foundation. You didn't start off in the CEO's role, you sort of paid your dues and worked the way through.
Yeah, that's right.
The principles of building a business in the bush are very, very different to building in the city, where you've got the internet, you've got mobile phones, and you've got that. What are some of the key values that you've had to hold on to, Denise, to get that organisation to where it's got to?
So I think loyalty goes a long way. So being loyal to your region, for me, for Arnhem Land, is really understanding how it operates. I mean, that region out there has obviously had, quite a turbulent experience in the refinery out there, the Rio Tinto refinery, and, a drop of 1,500 people, that population, which really did impact us. And it impacted everybody really out that way, but we saw a drop in population and we had to improvise, So again, staying loyal to the region and the people and their views and vision, and not doing it in such a way that you're coming into the region and saying, you will do this because I want you to do it. It's more about listening to what's going on the grassroots level and hearing the challenges and the difficulties, because there is no internet. You got to get somewhere. You got to travel over, unsealed roads and crocodile-infested, rivers, all that sort of stuff. So, but that's what makes it quite interesting.
And I mean, when there were planes and we flew around, you were forever getting on a plane and you were meeting with the head of Sky News or the head of the ABC or the head of Sydney University or Melbourne Uni. You were having these high-profile meetings with the top CEOs. Do you find that intimidating? Do you feel comfortable? I mean, that's not an easy chair for sort of the girl from Catherine just to step into.
No. Was I intimidated? No. And I wasn't intimidated because
I'm intimidated right now.
I can't be. You can't be. You've got to get your job done. So, I'm just doing the role that I need to do. And I can't be walking into these meetings, having meetings with, CEOs at Sky News or whatever and being intimidated by them. No, that's not happening.
How does the Bowden family, that's a very famous footballing family in the Northern Territory, obviously you married Sean, he chose very well, but how do the Bowden family play being second fiddle to what you've achieved?
No, they give me my space in the family. There's a space there. We girls, there's a lot of women who are really high achievers in our family too. So Sean and I, yes, we've been together for quite some time. It's a big family. It's a big Catholic family, to be honest, and we do okay. They make room for me to shine when I need to.
You have got, and I've over the 10 years that I've known you, Denise, you've got a lot of respect, admiration, professional admiration for your chairman. You've got a lot of respect there. Tell me about that relationship. It's obviously been a very, very good relationship, working relationship.
Yeah, so our chairman's Galaroi Yunipingu, I think he's probably the most legally litigated man in Australia, really. So in terms of what he's had to offer the community and how he goes about his life, it's a really interesting space to watch. He's taught me a lot. He's taught me what to do and what not to do in certain situations and really high-pressured situations. So to be able to watch his lead over the past 10 years has been amazing, phenomenal. Sometimes he's, 10 years ahead of everybody else. I see it. He's forward thinking all the time.
I know Mr. Jack Thompson. When I first went over, I guess assumed when I first saw Jack is that he was there as a sort of a sponsor or, an MC or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Oh my! If ever there was a champion of Indigenous issues or affairs or the Garma Festival or Yolngu people, it's Jack.
So it's an interesting story because Jack first came into the region through Dr. Yunipingu, who's passed, brother of Galaroi. So he met the family, and the family kind of took him under their wings, and he was given a Yolngu name, and he's named after the site that the Garma Festival's held on, actually. But he's our ambassador, and he does a sterling job on it. He's out at the festival, he's reciting poetry, he's doing Tai Chi on the escarpment. It's just gold.
I love it. You go out there, beautiful bush, and here's Jack doing Tai Chi, and he's got hundreds of people out there following him. It's a great image.
Yeah, and our sound team are trying to, pump up the music. hey, this is quiet time.
I remember one time your husband and I, we put Uptown Funk on in the middle of Jack doing his Tai Chi. Oh, well, God, we wet ourselves. Hey, clearly, Miss Denise Bowden has done something wonderful and done something right. Very hard for Aussies to sort of pat ourselves on the back. And I guess I'm not saying to pat, I'm just trying. Are you able to articulate, Denise, what you think you have got right on this journey?
I know I've got a lot of things wrong too, by the way. It hasn't been a smooth ride.
Well, we're going to get to those.
Look, I think, it's loyalty. I come back to loyalty again and being really mindful of where your footprints are in the Northern Territory and making sure that your impact is in a positive way and not, as a negative. I think being just respectful to everyone's wishes and needs are very difficult when you've got a load of personalities on the site, but most of the way, it's been quite good to have built friendships where people are of the mindset that we're all working to a better place, really.
Because once you have a cup of coffee with you and you sort of get to know Denise, you're quite emotional about the Northern Territory. It's a very, very... I
love it. It's my
home.
It's a soft spot for you. And I hope that we'll take good care of it in the future because my children are here, your children are here. We've got to take care of where our future is.
Yeah. Okay, winding up. What is there one moment, if you look back, maybe Garma Festival, Yothu Yindi Foundation, is there one moment that you go, if you had to, wow?
I've got two. Actually, I've got a few. I've got more than...
You've only got two.
So the first one is when Ramos Horta had come over from Timor and he just had an attempted assassination on him.
That's right.
Yeah, and he gave this beautiful speech about how he had forgiven his assassin. He nearly killed him. He was here in Darwin and, put in hospital, nearly died. But here is Ramos Horta coming and telling us that fundamentally we need to forgive and forget. How's that?
That was pretty powerful.
Now, my second one.
Yep.
Tony Abbott.
Okay. Talk about extremes. Here we go.
That was fun. So, it wasn't so much about Tony Abbott per se, but his character is amazing, a very interesting man, really driven. But the entourage that came
with
him,
phenomenal.
That
was gold.
Gold.
It was gold.
It was gold.
40 kilometres in the bush and there's cars and...
SWAT teams.
The whole lot.
Media contingents and, people fawning and fussing and, demanding that you have to do this, Denise. Well, actually, no. We do it like this. So you just have to do it our way and everything will be fine. You
obviously hire a lot of people each year for the Garma Festival. I always ask this question because I'm interested, is what are a couple of qualities? Obviously the resume, we can all make a glossy resume. What's a couple of qualities, and you must be very, very good at it, the amount of people that you employ. Yeah. What are you looking for?
It's about reliability and being consistent and staying till stumps to get your project done. And I feel with Indigenous affairs, it has to be done at 150%, not 100%. So the quality has to be there.
Mm. Yeah, good. Now, I'm always interested in that question because, particularly for yourself, it's very hard to be, someone to be giving you a bill on an hourly rate when they're 1,000 kilometres in the bush.
Yeah. Well, I've learned a few tricks. I've got a few of them up my sleeve. I'm not telling you anymore.
All right. Hey, listen, we're going to finish with 10 fast questions. So, and it's normally, I like it because we sort of promote and talk about the Northern Territory. But lastly, if you had to have a dinner, who would you invite to the table?
You paying?
I'm paying. I'm paying.
All right. So
I got 4 kids, so McDonald's will be looking for deals.
No. I'm going banquet. I'm going banquet style here. I might start in Alice Springs. I'm going to go and pick up Margaret Mary Turner.
Yep.
And Felicity Hayes and Anne and Bill Davis, I reckon. We're going to go over to Mudijula and pick up Craig Woods at Mudijula and Sally Scales.
Yep.
Just head over to Tennant Creek and pick up Gina Smith because she's gold too. She's great to have at a dinner party. She's great. I'm going to head over to Catherine and Jabiru where my sisters are, Jeannie and Cheryl Govan. I'll pick them up. We're going to go over the Tiwi Islands too. Maybe some of the Wannamiris might come over. Jennifer Clancy over at Grooch. We can pick her up from Tiwi.
Yep.
I've missed out the Arnhem Land people. So I reckon Eleanor and Marina Wangara, May Tilly Marika.
Yep.
I reckon if we pick up the Unipingu sisters, they're going to want seafood too.
I don't know about the budget there.
So what we'll do is we'll have it here in Darwin. And there's two women here in Darwin who reckon they've got the best chili mud crab, and that's like Tanya Rice and Siobhan Newman. I'm yet to taste it, by the way. They just brag about it. But no, there's more.
Your husband hasn't had a seat yet?
No, not yet. No, I'm getting to him. So then we'll take those ladies over and they can judge the chili mud crab cook-off with Jacko Angeles. I reckon that's my banquet. Oh, and Sean Bowden has to come because he's my husband and Liz O'Brien's a boss, so she's got to come too.
There you go. What would be the topic of conversation at that table?
Well, I reckon it's probably chili mud crab is going to win.
All right, so here we go. What is your favourite holiday destination in the NT?
Oh, Coburg Peninsula, I'd say. Yeah, yeah.
Favourite pub?
Coolangatta Tavern, oldest pub in Coolangatta.
Yep, okay. Who's the better negotiator at home doing, getting the kids to do the dishes, Sean or yourself?
So we just got a really busy household, so it's all in my house.
It's all in. Okay, favourite NT artist?
Oh gosh, any of what's coming out of Bukulangai and Yirrkala are amazing. Any of those Arnhem Land artists, but here in Darwin, there's a bloke by the name of Frank Goa who I love.
Yep, okay. Favourite footy team?
Oh, go the Crocs, go the Tigers.
Favourite dry season event? I think I know the one.
I like to go camping, yes, camping.
And who's easier to employ, men or women?
Women.
Women?
Most definitely.
Really?
No,
Why?
no. Well, they say they're going to do what they're going to do and they do it, but some of you blokes,
If there's one moment you could look back and say, that's the moment I want to do it again, what would it be?
I'm 10 years at the Yothu Yindi Foundation, the Garma Festival, and if you ask somebody what they thought, they'd say that I'd be mad because I'm still here after 10 years. Yeah.
You're still here. Hey, you're on long service. Thank you so much for coming in, and I look forward to the mud crab.
Magic. Thanks, Chris.